Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Ghost Protocol. Farden here. If you like our video, please leave a like and comment. Subscribe to stay connected with us, and we will continue to publish videos. Welcome back everyone, I am Farden. I hope you are all doing well. I am doing well too. Let's move on to a new story. I will read it out exactly as it is written. When the mildly cool breeze of Kingsburg, a crisp 11 degrees Celsius, brushes against one's skin, it feels as though time has come to a standstill, much like it did back in 1998. By the banks of the Jamti River in Sirajdikan. Some memories imprint themselves so deeply upon the mind that even amidst the profound silence of an unfamiliar city thousands of miles away, they drift back to the surface like wisps of straw. When one sits down to take stock of life, no story proves more extraordinary than the one lived. Thanks to my father's transferable job, I had to travel to various places throughout my childhood. On one occasion, we set up home at the Sirajdi police station. There was a field in front of the station with a large pond just beyond it. Flowing right beside our quarters, a structure with a 4-sloped tin roof, was the Ichamati River. To the immediate left of the house stood a dilapidated, eerie building, while to the right lay a dense thicket. Nestled within that thicket was an old mango tree. Small polythene bundles used to hang from its branches. Father used to say they were evidence, belongings of people who had died unnatural deaths, or even severed body parts kept after post-mortems, all hung there as exhibits for legal proceedings. When the wind stirred those bundles, a foul stench would rise, and the name Noor Nabi seemed inextricably linked to those grim remnants. The boy who lived in the sweeper colony and was unmatched in the work of retrieving bodies and digging graves. With no one else my age around, that sweeper colony became my playground, my realm of marbles. My afternoons were spent making dolls out of mud and playing with that black and white number 3 football, or engaging in a game of hide-and-seek, locally known as Polapoli. Being somewhat shy and the bookish sort, I invariably ended up being the one who had to play the seeker. One day I cleverly hid in the dense thicket behind that mango tree, right beneath the low-hanging branches. Just then my heart skipped a beat. A young woman was standing on the other side of the thicket. She was barely 18 or 20, dressed in a striking yellow sari with a red border. She was gazing at me unblinkingly. Trembling slightly, I pressed a finger to my lips, a silent plea not to reveal my presence. She neither moved nor spoke. Yet in the depths of that wordless stare, there was a sense of trust that assured me she would never betray my secret hiding place. From then on, I saw her often. Whenever Mother was busy in the kitchen, she would stand just outside the window. I would call out, "Look, Ma, see who is standing there?" Mother would snap sharply, "Who on earth would come out at this hour?" No one ever saw her, except for me. The most intense and terrifying memory I have is from a rainy day when Mother, the auntie from next door, and her children were bathing at the Ichamati riverbank. Suddenly, I slipped on the moss and sank into the deep water. I was suffocating as murky water rushed into my lungs. Just as I was about to slip into the darkness, it felt as though someone underwater had grabbed Mother's leg. Startled, she immediately pulled me up. I said to Mother, "Ma, that girl came grabbed my legs, saved me, and then slipped back underwater. But Mother was so engrossed in chatting with her friends that she didn't even hear me. Seething with hurt and resentment, I flung the soap into the water. That day, Mother gave me a couple of sharp slaps on the back with a plastic mug. She didn't understand. It wasn't a human being who had pulled me from the waters of the Ichamati that day. It was an eternal, wordless compassion. After finishing university and starting my first job, I moved into a room at a shared mess in Dunmundi with Masum, a senior from my school days. About 2 months later, Masum Bai said one morning, looking pale, "I won't stay in this room with you anymore. Absolutely not." When I asked the reason in surprise, his voice began to tremble. For the past few nights, whenever I've woken up suddenly in the dead of night, I've seen a pitch-black shadow hovering right over your face. At first, I thought it was just a trick of the darkness. But tonight, when I moved a little closer, a lifeless, dark face from within that shadow stared straight at me. I'm not staying here another moment. Masum Bai left, and I too was compelled to move into a shared mess located behind the Mohammadpur Krishi market. It was an inexpensive place, inhabited entirely by bachelors. Yet the moment I stepped inside, a primal sense of unease overwhelmed me. At first, the incidents seemed ordinary, but gradually, they morphed into sheer terror. If someone went to the bathroom, the door would suddenly get locked from the outside. Someone would leave a bucket right in front of the door, even though no one in the mess had actually done it. In the dead of night, it sounded as if someone were kicking the walls from the roof, and the light switches would flick on and off all by themselves. One of our senior colleagues was a very stern man. A wooden chair used to be kept on the veranda for smoking cigarettes. One day, while sitting in his room, he was hurling filthy abuse at these disturbances. Suddenly, as if by some supernatural force, that heavy wooden chair flew through the air and crashed down right in front of him. He was instantly silenced. A few days later, small mounds of sand began to appear in the corners of the room, much like the sand structures small children build on riverbanks. And the most annoying thing of all was the water in the bathroom. When we returned from the office after a long day, we would often find the mess floor marked with wet patches. Water spilling from the bathroom had soaked the entire room. It looked as though someone had walked around the place while wringing out wet clothes. I recall one particular Thursday. We were all sitting at the tea stall downstairs. After buying the groceries for dinner, I told the youngest guy in the mess, "Go to the room, wash the fish and vegetables, and get everything ready. We'll be there soon." Exactly 10 minutes later, he called. His voice was trembling on the other end. In a tear-choked voice, he said, "Brother, please come quickly." It was all over. We rushed into the room. What we saw was beyond the imagination of any sane person. It looked as though some invisible force of destruction had chewed up the entire room and spat it out. Rice and lentils were scattered all over the floor. Items from the refrigerator had been pulled out and smeared against the walls. Cooking oil was plastered across the walls. A grotesque, savage scene. The joy of finding an affordable place to live vanished in an instant, like camphor evaporating into thin air. Left with no other option, we turned to the Huzur, cleric, of the Baitul Ashraf Mosque, located next to the Suchana Community Center, for help. After the Jumu'ah prayers, the Huzur listened to everything we had to say and asked us to meet him again after the Asr prayers. When we sat with him later, he closed his eyes and seemed to be deep in thought for a moment. Then, letting out a long sigh, he said, "That boy, the son of the woman living in that house, is very restless. He plays with sand, and you lot aren't exactly blameless either. You don't flush the toilet after using it and you hurl abuse at them." One of us spoke up, "But Huzur, why does she flood the entire house with water? That is simply unbearable." Huzur replied calmly, "His mother is like a horse. She doesn't know how to manage a household properly. So when he drags himself out of the bathroom, water drips from his body and clothes, pooling all over the room." The word horse struck me as odd for some reason. I smiled with a hint of derision and asked, "Is such a thing even possible?" Huzur looked at me. His eyes seemed to read my entire past in a single instant. He spoke again, his tone even more solemn and tinged with a touch of scorn. "You are laughing. You are blinded by an illusion. Do you recognize the girl who follows you around, wearing a red sari against a backdrop of yellow? She is mute. She cannot speak. All your feelings and emotions have centered around her. She has been with you since childhood. She never left your side." Hearing Huzur's words, I felt a hollow emptiness open up inside my chest. It was as if a violent bolt of lightning had shattered the reality around me into smithereens. Before my eyes flashed images of that bundle hanging from the mango tree in Sirajuddin's orchard, and the unfathomable depths of the waters at Harijamdi. Yes, snoring. That's right, I used to see her all the time. We met every day. We shared so many unspoken conversations in our hearts. Even a mere 2-second glimpse of her felt like a long, unspoken saga spanning 10 minutes. She had embedded herself in my mind. She wasn't human. She was an unfulfilled mute spirit, like one trapped in a thicket of brambles, who had become my shadow and the sole companion of my lonely childhood. After the Huzur spoke those words, the air in the room seemed to grow heavy and freeze solid. A cold shiver ran down my spine. The other boys in the mess were staring at me open-mouthed. But at that moment, the only sound reaching my ears was the siren of an endless void. Huzur paused for a moment. Then, twirling his prayer beads between his fingertips, he said, "Listen, my son. There is a fine veil separating the world of the jinn from the world of humans. Certain souls, especially those who depart this life through unnatural means or harbor unfulfilled desires, sometimes become tethered to an innocent child by a bond of attachment. That thicket in Sirajuddin, the one that served as a sign, he held the ashes from her funeral pyre or the soil from her grave. Back when you used to play hide and seek as a child, and when it came there to hide, that mute, crow-like presence found a home within your innocent heart. You didn't fear it. Instead, you pressed a finger to your lips, signaling, 'Don't tell anyone,' Clear's throat. That single gesture turned it into your shadow." Huzur sighed and looked at me. "It never harmed you. It was the one that saved you from the swirling waters of the Ichamati River, pulling you back by your mother's feet. But as you grew up and your world filled with crowds of people, it receded into the shadows, yet it never left your side." The dark shadow Masum saw at the Dhanmondi mess, it was none other than her. She used to hover over you, shielding you, just as a mother shields her child. But the people around you couldn't tolerate her supernatural presence. I asked in a trembling voice, "Then, what about the havoc wreaked by this Messi in Muhammadpur, the crippled mother and the restless child. The Huzur smiled. Yet there was no amusement in that smile. It held a profound understanding of life. That, after all, was a different family. A female jinn lived in that house with her child. When that mute, mystical spirit of yours saw the new residents, the jinn family, harassing you and your friends in various ways, locking the bathroom, moving buckets, kicking the walls, she simply could not tolerate it. That Thursday afternoon, while you were out at the market, a fierce battle between two invisible forces took place inside the room. That mute girl of yours, the one in the yellow sari with the red border, fought tooth and nail against the jinn's child to ensure they couldn't drive you out of the house. That rampage inside the house, the splattering of oil and spices, the overturning of the refrigerator, that wasn't some mere nuisance, Father. It was a war, a battle to save you. As the Huzur finished speaking, tears began to stream down my face. The very scene that had once made me shudder with terror, thinking it a grotesque, violent disturbance, was actually a desperate struggle waged by that silent companion of my childhood. I felt deeply guilty. He had followed me like a shadow for ages, protecting me. Yet I had mistaken him for a ghostly menace. The Huzur then recited some prayers and blessed some water for us, telling us to vacate the house in Muhammadpur. And Tamal, he added, you should pray for her. She isn't an evil jinn or a malevolent spirit. She is merely an unfulfilled soul, Clear's throat, one that had fallen in love with a human being. But a union between the two worlds is never possible. She needs to be set free. We moved out of that house. Many years have passed since then, years filled with the bustle of Dhaka and the rat race of corporate life. And as the wheel of fortune turned, today I find myself standing in Kings Park, in the Australian city of Perth, thousands of miles away. There is no Methor Paddy sweeper's colony here, no murky waters of the Ishamati River, and no mysterious bundle hanging from a mango tree. When the quiet, cool breeze at a crisp 11 degrees Celsius brushes against me, a shiver runs through my body. It feels just like a familiar touch. That is how he concluded his story. I hope you enjoyed this tale, and if you did, please do let us know. Although I have been in frequent email contact with the person involved throughout this matter, since they did not mention any names, I refrained from doing so as well. I hope you enjoyed it. Please do let me know if you did. Thank you all so much for watching until the end. I will see you again with a new story. Until then, take care of yourselves and your families. Goodbye.